Chapter 17. Emma. When her tears were spent, Emma wandered back into the kitchen. She still had a few hours before the young ones would be out of school, and a few more hours until her father and Carrie would be home. Samuel would probably finish his work around the small farm shortly after the young ones returned home. Emma decided to spend the time cooking for supper. She began chopping vegetables for the stew, hoping to keep her mind off William Cook's strong face and cleft chin. When the vegetables were ready, she added them and the meat to a large pot and lit the fire. As the stew began to simmer, she turned her attention to the bread. After the ingredients were mixed, she began kneading the dough, letting her mind flirt with what-if possibilities. If she had heard William out, would he have stayed? Beyond that, if he had stayed, would he have wanted to court her? Might she have one day been preparing bread for him in their house as she waited for him to come home for dinner? What smells so good? Jenny's voice broke Emma's daydream, and she looked up to realize nearly an hour had passed and she hadn't gotten the bread in the stove yet. Benjamin and Jenny stood a few feet away staring at her. "It's stew," Emma said, placing the bread in the stove. "But it's not ready yet. We're going to wait for Pa and Carrie to finish their day before we eat." A small pout graced Jenny's lips. "Okay. Do you think William will ever come back?" "Yeah, I miss him too," Benjamin said. "I wanted him to teach me about bounty hunting." "Oh, I'm sorry, you two, but I don't think Mr. Cook is coming back," Emma said. "Emma, are you sad that William is gone?" Jenny asked. Emma sighed. "I suppose I am a little, but Mr. Cook had to get back to his life. He would never have been happy staying here. Sage Creek doesn't have enough to offer him." "It has us." Jenny folded her arms across her chest. "I wanted him to stay. I wanted the two of you to get married so he could be with us always." "Why are you so eager to marry me off?" Emma flashed a smile, hoping she could change the subject and get the children talking about something other than William. "Won't you miss me when I don't live here any longer?" Jenny nodded. "Of course, but you seemed happier when you were married to Joseph." Emma stared at the sage little girl. Of course she had been happier when she was married to Joseph. But that had been about Joseph and not just about marriage, right? Suddenly, she was no longer sure. William made it to Dallas just as the sun was setting. At least he'd be able to sleep in a room tonight and ask some questions around town. If he was really lucky, maybe he'd even find his mark hanging around at the saloon. Though from his experience, bank robbers tended to be less social. The inn's sign came into view, and William dismounted, throwing the reins around the hitching post before sauntering into the 3-story building. The smell of leather greeted him as he stepped into the lobby. 2 brown leather couches complemented the cream and brown colors of the room. A woman sat behind a check-in desk to the right. She looked up as William approached, and he paused. With her blonde hair and hazel eyes, she reminded him very much of Emma. He shook his head to clear the image. How had she affected him so profoundly after only a few days? And continued toward the woman. She wasn't Emma. He knew that. Emma was back in Sage Creek. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. I wanted to see if you have a room for a few nights." She smiled at him as she opened a large book. "You might be in luck." After a quick scanning, she turned around and grabbed a key off the hook. "I have room 3 available." "Wonderful." William plunked down the required bills and took the key. He would check the room out and stash his money before heading to the saloon to gather information. It was never smart to carry a lot of money into those places. You never knew when fights might break out or pickpockets would wander through. A quick investigation of the room satisfied him, and after stashing the money under the bed, William locked the door behind him and headed toward the saloon. The place was bustling when he arrived. Not unusual, as these types of establishments catered to a night crowd. He walked up to the bar and ordered his usual single shot of whiskey. The bartender had just slid the glass in his direction when a heated argument broke out next to him.
"I told you to stay away from my sister, Charles."
The words were slurred and angry.
"Your sister is old enough to make up her own mind, Leroy,"
the other man shot back, his words much harder to understand. Both men had clearly had too much to drink. William, wanting to distance himself from any fight so as not to draw attention, grabbed his drink and stood. But the men were quicker than he had expected, and before he had fully turned, a fist appeared out of nowhere and connected with his neck. The room grew gray as William grabbed his neck and sank to the floor. Hot, searing pain erupted in the wound and clawed up his neck. While the men brawled near him, he tried in vain to grab the attention of anyone close by. But everyone's gaze remained fixated on the two men, and William lost his fight with the darkness.